So Keystone is like the heart of your OpenStack cloud environment. Let's try to understand the Keystone service and see what is happening. As mentioned before, Keystone is used for authentication and authorization. It's the backend service that everybody is talking to. It stores information in a database that is critical for OpenStack working. And you can get the information out of the database with some commands like Keystone service list and Keystone role list and Keystone user list and Keystone endpoint list. Let me show you a couple of those commands. Keystone service list. And now look at that. This is a pretty common error. Well, basically there's two errors. First, there's a deprecation warning. The deprecation warning is about the command that I'm using. There's a new command that is available, but it's available in newer versions of OpenStack only. So for now, I stick with the old command. And also, it is giving the warning expecting an auth URL via either OS auth URL or an environment setting. I didn't include any of the environment settings. So before I can do anything with Keystone, let's step back a little bit and let's have a look at this. What you can see here is a file with the name Keystone rc_admin. Let's have a look at the Keystone rc_admin. This has been created when I ran packstack to install this machine. And you can see it is looking for an environment variable with the name OS auth URL, and this environment variable is right here. So what we can see in this file is basically all the credentials that I used when connecting to OpenStack. So there is OS username. This is the name of the administrative user that's going to connect. There's OS password. Yes, it's a clear text password, but this is the password that the user is authenticating with. There is OS auth URL. This is the entry point in Keystone that is used to authenticate. And also there's a tenant name. So the tenant that I'm currently working with is the admin tenant. Based on this configuration file, if you want to be working from the command line, no matter if you want to do it as an administrator or as an end user, just create a similar configuration file that has the same environment settings. And the next thing to do is to source this configuration file. So if I'm sourcing Keystone rc_admin, I can see my prompt changing because of the PS1 definition, and I'm Keystone admin right now. And right now I can type Keystone service list, and this will show me a list of services, or Keystone role list. And it will show me all the roles that are available. Remember when we created the users? These are the roles that can be assigned to the different users. Or Keystone endpoint list, which will show a list of endpoints. These are the authentication URLs that you need to be using when digging in deeper to OpenStack. This is the information that you are going to be using when configuring configuration files by hand, as I will show you later. And let's do a Keystone --help just for a generic impression of everything that is available from this command. As you can see, many options are available. And there are some logics in the way these options are working. For example, there is the service command here. So you can see there's a service create, a service delete, a service get, and a service list. This logic is also applied to the tenant argument, or the user argument, or the user role argument, and the endpoint argument, and many of the sub-commands that Keystone is using are working like this. As you can see, they have thought about it and they have tried to make the command line interface consistent, even if it contains a lot of options. So let me get back to the slide. These are some examples of the commands as we have just seen from the command line. While configuring services, endpoints must be created in Keystone. The endpoint is something very important to understand while working with services, because the endpoint basically is the URL that the service is using in order to connect to another service. So you should make sure that the right endpoint is included. And while working from the command line, Keystone endpoint list is going to help you finding those URLs.